How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. How are things been?
Been busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. How'd your, did it just kind of start or did it right after the new year kind of pick up?
We have a ton of buyers right now, and obviously we know inventory is so low that we're just going out from sun up to sundown, showing houses all day, every day.
Right. Or do you think you're more buyer heavy this year than last?
We are, yeah. Definitely much more buyer heavy this year, and especially during this season than last year. But it's we're finding some really creative ways to get out there and get our people into houses.
Cool. That's good. Well, thank you for taking the time to chat. I know I feel like I haven't really seen you guys lately. I don't know. We're all just been in our own lane, just kind of doing our thing.
I know. It's just been busy.
The grind is real right now, for sure.
I know. And especially if you are working with a lot of buyers too. And I feel like I'm even more buyer heavy this year, for sure. And it's all different price points. I don't know what you're seeing for your buyers down there.
Yeah, we're kind of seeing it both ends of the spectrum. We're not anywhere in the middle. We're kind of, I would say entry level homes, and then up to 7+ figure homes.
What is entry level down there now? Is it like
450?
450, yeah.
350, and now it's close to 500. So
yep.
Yeah, it's just crazy how quickly the market has progressed. With interest rates increasing, values drastically increasing. Especially because we've got quite a bit of first-time home buyers, because in our sphere of influence and just our age, we have those millennials that are coming into this market and wanting to become first-time home buyers, and we're seeing their value or their ability to buy changing. It can be week by week that all of a sudden they're approved for 450, and then the next week it's 445, and then it's next week it's 430, and so we're having to get creative and really it just forces us to hit the pavement. It puts that urgency with our buyers to really get out there and house hunt so they can get something before they're priced out.
Yeah, and I think staying on the front end of it, where when we sit down with a buyer appointment, we go over, we try not to inundate with too much information, but I think it's better to have a lot of information at your fingertips as a buyer right now. Just knowing what to expect, how, volatile it can be right now with, several over ask offers. So if, let's just say their price range is in the, 450 mark, we really have to set them up to look in, just even a little bit of a lower price range than that to make sure that they're willing and able to go above ask right now.
Yeah. So just like build in the fact that you're going to have to be doing escalations. And basically it's educating and sitting down and be like, this market is not for the faint of hearts. Like, you have to be 100% in it, or you're sitting on the sidelines, because the half in, half out is just, it won't work. Got to be kind of committed, and then going through the steps of like you're really the waiving of the inspections, all the contingencies really, and doing what you can with the financing metrics when it comes to appraisal and all. There's just so many little tips and tricks and things that we as agents have to take in consideration too when we're trying to kind of put the best foot forward.
Absolutely. We're seeing a lot of 22 ADs or the low appraisals being thrown in, and that's what's beating out a lot of the buyers right now, are the people that are willing to put in those low appraisal addendums.
Yep.
And how we're explaining it to our clients is they're basically hedging the bet on this year's appreciation within the housing market. So instead of looking at it as because it sounds so negative as a low appraisal, but really what you're doing is you're hedging your bet on the following year's appreciation. So we're trying to look at what, not go crazy with a low appraisal addendum, but factor that in, and if it calculates and makes sense for everybody, it's basically just buying your.
Yeah, no, that's a good way of looking at it too. I haven't really heard it couched that way, in terms of you are kind of, you're buying a future, right? So you're kind of just paying a little bit extra to get what what the market's going to speed up to, in theory, or the market is the market anyway. So when you're doing those escalations, and then you have the drop of appraisal, we all know that the appraisals are subjective to the appraiser that goes out to the property anyway, and they don't know really what is on the other side of the process. How many offers were there made? They don't necessarily know what those offers were. So you have kind of two conflicting, I guess, sides of the market.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
this season has definitely got us to where it's almost a requirement for our buyers to, when we accept a buyer on our team, that we have a sit down true meeting with them. Like we game plan either over Zoom or in the office where we meet with their lender and us, and we all kind of come together. Because there's coaching, like you said. I mean, this market isn't for the faint of heart, and so we really try to set those expectations. Like this is going to be a battle. I mean, we're going to have to go out there and fight to get into a home, and it can still be fun. It's still very rewarding. Yep. We just that mindset of we have to do whatever it takes.
So some of the we advise them on are, with offer review dates, right? You see, hey, we're reviewing offers on the 8th at noon, but a lot of these are dropping off, early because someone's throwing their offer into the ring early on. And so then it gets taken off the market. The buyer gets frustrated because they said, oh, well, I thought we were going to wait to submit our offer until the offer review date. So there's just different ways in which we're just making sure that we stay in direct contact with that listing agent. I mean, over communicate with that listing agent to be like, are you sure you're holding to that offer review date? And if you aren't, please give us an opportunity to throw our hats in the ring. That's a big piece.
Yeah, it's been really frustrating. I know you guys have had some stories, and I've seen them on different forums where listing agents just kind of lack of communication all around, and then your clients end up seeing on the way driving to the property for your showing, they see that the property goes pending, and it's like why couldn't you have communicated? Because it makes us all look like dummies, like we don't know what's going on, when realistically there's just there's no standard of communication or even a standard in the process. It's subjective to the actual listing agent who's conducting the circus.
That's the only thing that our clients see is what's happening on right there. They don't know that there's all these moving parts going on behind the scenes. So it's really like I said, over communicate with our clients, with the lender, everybody on the front end to know what to expect. Because we actually put that out there that, hey, we might see some offer review dates that the listing agent doesn't hold firm to. Yep. How we operate, but unfortunately that's just the way it is right now.
Then it's something to communicate with our sellers too. Like, when you're on the other side of it, to really set those boundaries for the sellers. Like, hey, if we decide to do an offer review date, we should really stick to the offer review date. Because at the end of the day, to us, if that person is really interested in, submitting an offer early, most likely they're going to hold to the offer review date. And most likely you may get offers bigger and better than that by waiting until the property be on the market. Because the market's moving so fast that these offer review dates are giving you 3 to 4 days to look at a property. And so if you're cutting that even shorter, I just feel like you're limiting that buyer pool and really limiting the amount of activity that you can get on your property.
Yeah, the sellers are essentially leaving a lot of money on the table, because most good offers, they hold out until, the 11th hour when you date on there. So, of course, there's always those offers that come in, all cash, waived everything, close in 3 days. I mean, you can't expect it to leave, a bird in the hand's worth more than 2 in the bush. So I understand why they pull stuff off the market, but it'd just be nice to be able to get a heads up that, hey, here's your last opportunity to throw your hat in the ring. Because we've called agents and said, hey, if you don't mind, what did you end up, going over ask? Did you, and we've gotten responses from these agents that say, oh, we got a great offer. We got an offer, 5,000 over ask, when our offer would have been 20
way
over.
more. Yeah. Yeah, I think that goes it's also counseling of the listing agent. Like you said, when you're on the other side and you're representing your seller, you're trying to give them the best advice possible. And it is, wait till that offer review, because that's when everyone's ready to bring their highest and best. But there are those weird off cases where someone just comes in and they're cash and quick close and all that sort of thing. And it just kind of works. But it has been interesting. Are you guys seeing, I guess, obviously inventory is very limited everywhere. I'm assuming you guys are seeing that kind of in your area too, specifically Enumclaw, but then also in the surrounding kind of areas. Is there one area that you kind of are looking at right now that kind of has a little bit more inventory and maybe you're kind of pushing your buyers towards as kind of like a good buy?
Yeah. So Enumclaw's inventory is incredibly low right now. So it's really low. I mean, it's even lower than the national average, even lower than the county average. Mm-hmm. Really tight with inventory. But those buyers that are, you know, a little bit more flexible on where they can live, but are still looking for a little bit more of a rural type of feel, we're doing a lot out in Graham right now. There's a lot of going on in Graham. There's a lot of construction going on in Graham, and there's still bigger lot sizes, things like that. So we've been going a lot out toward Graham. I think we're going to close a couple in Graham here in the next 30 days. So yeah, I think Graham is a good one to keep your eye on, because I mean, there's another development right at the top of the hill in Graham that's going to, I think Lennar is doing it, and they're going to have over 100 homes. They've got,
do you know what they start at by chance off the top of your head? Sorry to put you on the spot.
yeah, no, those are starting 550.
Okay. Yeah, for like a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom. Yeah.
Yep. 3-bedroom, 2-bath is kind of going to be their base model, and that's going to start in the 550. Again, that's before upgrades and all those things. But I'm guessing that they're going to land closer in that 600 to 700 range on average. Yep.
Well, that seems very, very reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah. So Graham's on the come up for sure. There's just a lot out there. There hasn't been a lot of development in the past, and as South Hill expands and grows, it just pushes out further and further. So it's a lot of growth.
And there's pockets in Bonnie Lake that we're seeing pop up too. You know, they might have been in more of a entry level area in times past. Now we're looking through different lenses. You know, some of them might be older manufactured homes and that type of thing. Either can be fixed up, are fixed up, or they have
Scraped.
There temporarily while they move that mobile off and build a house. So we're seeing a lot of movement there. So that's another thing that we're throwing into the ring as well. We're seeing.
Are you seeing a lot more people just in general down, like every, street? What people? I mean, obviously we've lived there, our lives. And I know when I go back home and visit my parents, I'm always like, man, there's just so many more people around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're seeing building, sorry, Tone. They're seeing a lot of building out, between Buckley and Lake Tapps. There's the Bonnie Lake Estates. There's so many homes out there that are being built or finalized being built. And so, even Sumner Buckley Highway, my parents live off that, and it's just like, State Route 410 now, it's just, oh my God, there's so many people out here now, but it's just the way it is,
Yeah. Well, it's a good area, especially if you have, kids and you're trying to get into good schools and, you need the space. Or really, that is, everyone just kind of keeps pushing down, and specifically King County too, being that kind of little edge, or sorry, Enumclaw being a little spot in King County, that is in the corner.
Absolutely.
So what other, things have you guys been up to, like expansion wise with your team, or, just in general, what are you guys kind of working on?
We've just been heads down grinding. I mean, one of the biggest things for 2022 is just pivoting. I mean, we say it all the time. I mean, that's something that we have to do right now. When we felt like we got a grip on the 2020 through 2021 real estate market, it's completely different than, it's like 2022 flipped a switch and we're now pivoting the other direction on, whether it's submitting offers in right away on some offer review dates, or, just trying to drum up new business and, all those types of things. It's just a completely different animal right now. Being on the fly, and I think we're doing pretty good. I mean, so far so good. Sydney and Tony and I are just hitting the pavement and doing some marketing stuff, and we're pretty excited about it.
Good. Yeah. You guys got the year off to a good start. I'm sure you have kind of a whole lineup for the rest of the year too.
We do.
Yeah. We've got, finally, our clients, most of our clients have been wanting to hold out, so that weather gets a little bit warmer, which I think I'm doing. And so now we've got some clients that are like, okay, let's go ahead and jump in. We can jump in now. The market's so good. And that's one thing we've been calling our sellers and saying, hey, historically, this March month is a really great month. I think last year March was the highest month for homes. That's compared to their sale price to their list price. So I think it's going to be a great month for more listings to pop up. It's going to open it up for the buyers, and I think it's going to be kind of the kickoff for the season.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think we'll start to see more inventory. And like you said, it'll open up a little bit for the buyers too. Where historically, I think a lot of sellers have been, I want to wait until that May, June timeframe, like late April, May, June. Now everything's kind of shifted a little closer to the beginning of the year. And so now it's like, nope, if you have something, just put it out there. There's no like timing, I still though, and it'll be interesting to get your thoughts on this as far as those who are, July, August timeframe, like dead of summer. How do you guys feel about that when you go to, consult on the listing time?
Yeah, we've found personally, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this, is that July month is actually for our area is one of the slowest months. We actually see a really big dip in showings in that month, because I think that's a high travel month for people. I think the weather's really good, so people are kind of focused on other things during that time of year. 4th of July takes people's minds away from things because they're vacationing. So we've actually tried to avoid, especially the week before, during, and after 4th of July.
4th of July.
We try to keep hitting that mark.
Same. I mean, I feel like I kind of call it the summer doldrums, like where everyone's distracted. And I think this year specifically, just because, the mask mandate's being lifted and people are moving around, that they're going to take the summer and actually do the things that they haven't been able to do the last 2 years. We'll probably see a lot, again, weddings and, all the family events. And maybe that'll start early. Maybe that'll be more of like a June, July, August thing. Versus the, July, August only. Everyone's just going to kind of have it all summer long. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see, but I do think that, hopefully we'll have some more inventory for those buyers come on as, the problem is gridlock, right? So the sellers, where do they go? So, you got to kind of figure out what their motivation. And I've actually, maybe you guys have been counseling your clients too. To some of them, it's, hey, why don't you just sell and then maybe you rent somewhere for, a year, 6 months, a year. And for the ones that, maybe it's that don't necessarily have families, but the ones that are maybe single or dual income, whatever, that they don't have to have the space or the big yard or, what have you. That's a good plan, because then they get the money in their pocket and then they can kind of wait to see, them work on themselves and to get into a new home.
We're kind of bucketing our clients and the ones that can make the move without any negative repercussions about being under the gun to find something else. We've been really working on them to discuss, time frames on getting their homes listed. And we said now probably in the March timeframe is one of the best times too, because you're riding that, you're now on the front wave of it, right? So you're going to get a good return. You're going to get all these people that are super excited that have been waiting for houses to hit the market. They're going to be, beating the door down. So we've bucketed those, and we have a couple coming up in late March, 1st of April, in the area that'll be kind of hitting the market. And I think that they're going to check a lot of boxes for a lot of the buyers around here that, you haven't seen those types of properties hit. So it gives us, hopefully more will hit for our buyers too, on the other side. So
yeah, what's best down here is that, again, and it's probably same with up there, but the rental market is so tight down here too.
Yeah.
It's almost just as hard, if not harder, to find the rental for our clients to move into as well. So we're honestly thinking that, that this year's investment may be that we buy what we call a little bit of a halfway house, where we have a house that, our clients can come and live in, transition while
that's a great idea.
The month-to-month thing. They stay there 2 or 3 months while they're searching, and then.
Problem is, we just need a whole apartment complex.
I know. Yeah. I mean, that's a great idea. And we run into the same thing up here. And that's why I was saying apartments, because I think apartments the only property right now that does have a decent amount of inventory. It's really hard to find rental houses. It's just as hard to get a rental house as it is to purchase a house.
Yeah.
I mean, I met even this last summer, I think I had, was there 20 applications or something on this house in Wallingford that I had on the market, and granted, it was $4,500 a month, a 3-bedroom. And that many people showed up to the door because, if you want a house and you want the space, there's just lack of inventory. And a lot of those investors are choosing right now to sell because the market's so hot. So it's taking the inventory, the rental, market inventory is shrinking for single family homes, for townhomes, for privately owned rentals. So yeah, it's pretty hard out there on all fronts.
Yeah. So Ash, what do you think, for the future, just, and obviously we don't have a crystal ball, but what are your thoughts on what is going to alleviate this stress, this
So,
housing
well,
market?
yeah, so the government obviously is doing a couple things with the interest rates and really trying to spar, take away, I guess, the secondary home market or slow that market down because they're trying to create a space where the first time home buyers can jump in. And, obviously the secondary home market, the people who are buying secondary homes have the disposable income. They're the cash offers. They're the ones that are, not shy to bid things up. So I think that might help or might curb a little bit of our upwards trend. I do think that people just naturally, now that we're getting out of COVID, they are people who may be stuck in their home, are waiting now. And they're like, okay, now it's ready. Now I have time for me to go or do something else. Or their plans change or they're moving out of state. I mean, there's been a lot of out of state moves and people moving drastically in different directions. And that takes the seller out completely of the market that they already live in and allows a buyer to kind of come and shift into that. So I could see that kind of helping things recover or allow more first-time buyers come in. There will be a point of buyer fatigue just in general, and I think we're, I mean, I have a couple buyers that you could only take everyone's, so far, and they've lost out on 8 different offers. It's a lot of time and energy spent. And yes, it's not for the faint of heart, but at the same time, you've put that energy and effort in, and it's just taking up so much time and energy. They kind of have to call it quits at a certain point, right? Or just say, hey, I'm pausing until, the right scenario, maybe until things cool off or more inventory comes on. So I think we're going to see a lot of that too, where people just kind of say, hey, I'm going to stay where I'm at. Or I'm going to do this alternative. I might move out of state, move out of city, might move, stay put, or I might just choose to rent, and make those sacrifices. So I do think it's going to level out a little bit because we just can't be going up.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're already going to start, or I've already seen the shift of the buyer fatigue, not just with our own clients, but just with the showing counts.
Yep.
You see those start to kind of dwindle down. I mean, they're still very high, still obviously very much a seller's market, but I definitely can see those dwindling down. And even the last couple of offers that we've submitted, there haven't been the 9, 10, 11, 15 offers. It's been 3, 4 offers. And where 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was 15, 20 offers that week. So I definitely feel like that buyer fatigue, we've seen it with our own clients. I mean, we're just like trying to keep them keep them as energized as we can to keep them going, because it is tough. I mean, when you're out there writing the best offers you've ever written your entire life, you're giving up more than you ever wanted to give up, keep getting beat up time after time. It is emotionally defeating.
Yeah, it totally is.
So last client that we had that we just got under contract here in Enumclaw, 2 weeks ago, there was identical homes that weren't in as good a shape as this particular home that we got them under contract on, but it went way over ask. They just felt like they were completely out of it. And what we did is we kept in contact with the listing agent, and on this particular one that we got them in, and the traffic wasn't as busy through it. So I think there was a lot of people that fell off because they were like, oh, well, the one over on James Street went for this, the one over on Smith went for that, so I'm not even going to throw my hat.
It scares them, basically.
Yeah. So our job as agents is to keep everybody as positive and hopeful as possible, because it does happen. It ebbs and flows. So that listing that you think is out of touch, everybody thinks is out of reach. Everybody thinks is out of reach.
Yep.
And you might be able to get it for a decent deal. So it happened to work out for our clients.
Yeah.
We're tickled about that.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah.
And the other strategy too is like, I know that there's not that many out there, but for the sellers and listing agents who maybe overshot the market and they're sitting on the market for X amount of days past the review, it's always worth circling back and not thinking, oh, there's something wrong with that property. Because like just you said, people stare at it and oh, for sure it's going to go like this, even without even visiting or knowing. And so then it's like, oh, well, it's stuck around past this review period. There must be something wrong with it. But it's like, in most cases, they just overshot it. And like you said, people are like, no, that's, it's going to escalate to X. And then sure enough, it passes a review. And that's almost that point where you sneak in at that day or day after and then go through it and then write up that offer real quick, right?
And I mean, even the ones that fell out of contract, they might have fallen out.
Yes.
All of a sudden, say the property taxes went up significantly. That's what we're seeing too in our area. I mean, they've gone up
drastically.
Yeah.
Oh, the percentage on some of them are just jaw dropping. And so that, maybe they were pre-approved and they had a pre-approval letter for X and it was at the top of their budget. And then they found out the 2022 taxes just were released and now it takes them out of the affordability. And so it falls out of contract for financing, which there was nothing wrong with the house. So then we can swoop on those ones too. So,
and I think especially in the first time home buyer, lower, under 500 market, those buyers are right on the edge. I mean, they're pushing it. And so those changes in interest rates, those changes in property taxes, in the middle of a contract could knock those buyers out. So making sure you're having those conversations with your buyers and their lenders, making sure there is room there for any changes, but also when you're the listing agent, making sure that you're calling those clients lenders and making sure that they're solid, and if there is any changes or if their rate's not locked, all those different things, because those houses, we've seen multiple of those fall off and come to the market.
Yeah. Do you guys ever submit backup offers?
We haven't done a ton.
We're going to start though.
Yeah.
I believe it's the time is now to start doing that.
I mean, especially if you're in second position and you're in a multiple offer scenario. And I've only done it a few times where it's been successful. And it's worth trying. I kind of look at, like you said, especially at the beginning of the year, right? That would be, if we're still in the same market next year, that'd be an awesome strategy to have at the, next year, just knowing that there is going to be fallout because of those very reasons that you named.
Yeah.
But I think it is always worth it to lock up a secondary position because you just never know.
Right.
I mean, there's so many different things happen. It's been interesting for me to have now seen or witnessed a lot that goes on in the Arizona market because they actually have a 30% fallout rate, which is insane. And a lot of it has to do with financing, but a lot of it has to do with, and if you could imagine when, let's say, I'm going to phrase this as nicely as I can, but maybe back when, let's say 3, 4, or 5 years ago or whatnot, when market was definitely heating back up, probably 5 years, 4 or 5 years, and the offer review period was kind of loose, it wasn't as structured as is now. In Seattle it had been, but I think further south we always had conversations about agents not really even having a review date and just accepting the first offer that comes through the door with an inspection contingency and with all these contingencies, I know we put offers on Tacoma properties and was always like, why is there no offer review date? There's tons of people looking at the property. Why are you locking it up in the first offer that comes through your email, right? So they do that down there. And it's very interesting for me because it's we need pre-inspections from sellers. We need go down there and it's just kind of these are the things you have to lock it up because you will have that fallout and it will be 30% and you're constantly going to be coming back on the market, and a house that would have took you 30 days to sell is going to take you 90 days now because you're going to go through 2 buyers. So it's just kind of interesting to see, but they always do backups constantly. It's if you're in second position, you better put your backup in because more than likely you're going to be able to get it.
Yeah,
so
great point. I can see that being a much higher probability in this market right now. So
yeah.
Especially with those fringe buyers, that
totally.
They're slowly getting, the market's catching up on pricing them out. Interest rates are catching up on them too. It's definitely in that price point.
Yeah,
I think going to be huge.
Exactly.
Totally. Good. Well, anything else that you guys kind of want to share today? I know you guys are rocking and rolling and doing your thing. And I wanted to touch base. So, what are you doing in the polo world?
Loving it.
Trying to stay on the back of a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric, you look mighty professional lately when I see the videos on Instagram. I'm you look a natural. Hello, you have the best posture.
I think it's just being naive and not knowing that I could be bucked off at any time or fall off or hit with the ball. No, we have great coaches, and we've been going down to the desert to play. The horses go down there while it's all soggy and underwater up here.
Yep.
Haven't been back down since
January.
But we're hoping to get down there one more time before they come back up. But they'll be back up here in April.
Yeah.
And
Nice. And does Leanne from Chicago Title, you guys tend to, I think her horse is down there, or yeah.
We have the same coach and trainers,
Got
and
it.
she's a part of the Seattle Polo Club, which is in Enumclaw. And anybody wanting to try polo, they do first time polo lessons down there. It's a super cool.
I think
program.
you and Mark should come down.
Oh no, totally will. And I think Jose just said you guys should do polo shirts.
Yeah,
That's actually
yes.
good.
Right? And then why don't you should guys sponsor a whole little like section of the little polo.
We are.
Oh, you are. All right,
Yeah.
cool. We'll come down.
You'll get it in. Guys are on the list.
To the table. It's a lot of fun.
It was so fun. I mean, incredibly fun last summer.
Great food, great music. I mean, lots of eye candy. There's Rolls Royce Motor Cars sponsors the event. And
Bentley.
it's just really cool. Great music. People dancing the whole time, and
Rolex. Great food. All you can eat and drink. I mean, it's a great time. So we'll definitely be sponsoring this year.
Is that in July or August, or when is the dates?
August. Yeah.
August.
Yeah.
Weather's always
Mountains
awesome.
up.
The
Mountains
mountain
up.
is so beautiful out there. Yeah, it's a fun day.
Nice. Are you guys? Go ahead.
Hopefully, Eric will be playing this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you will be.
Yeah,
We'll see.
No, I'm telling you look like a natural.
he is. Ashley.
I know.
I've been riding my whole life, and he's like out galloping me, hitting the ball down the field.
Again,
like,
pure stupidity on my part. That's what it is. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you look great doing it, and that looks like a very fun kind of hobby to do outside of career work.
Yeah.
Sure.
A lot of fun.
Yeah. What trying to think, there was something else I wanted to touch base on too. You guys, are you still looking for a place down in California then as well? Like, yeah.
But again, down there, it's like hockey stick growth as well. Houses that we were looking at, we were really thinking about pulling the trigger back in February of 2020, and then we know what happened in March. So we actually pulled back a little bit because we didn't know what the future held for Airbnbs, and it turns out it was actually went in the opposite direction that we thought that it might go. So houses that we were looking at in the $600,000 to $800,000 range are now 1.2 to 1.7. So
I know.
That's
crazy. I mean, that's everyone. Even when we bought our house in Arizona, I was like, we should have really forced ourselves to buy another house at that point. There's no crystal ball. There's so many unknowns going on at that time. Like literally, the people who took the risk, it was just a thing that, I don't know. You kind of had to be forcing yourself mentally to be doing something like that for sure.
Yeah, but we're gonna kind of just keep our pulse or our finger on the pulse down there and see what happens, because we really want to be down in the desert just because of the polo situation. And if anybody's been in Washington lately, if we want to get out, and because of the weather, it's like, man, everything's just underwater. So I'm starting to grow gills.
Yeah, it's very soggy out.
Yeah.
Tony, are you still part of the council, or both of you guys?
that was my last year.
It was
last year. So we're all done with that for now. And then we moved outside of city limits. So I would have rerun, and I would have run again if we didn't go outside of city limits. But now we're outside.
But I can be on the chamber board, so I'm on the the Enumclaw Chamber of Commerce. And
is there anything specifically that the city is doing, kind of just is unique this year, or has going on?
Got an axe throwing bar here in town. Do you remember Mercantile?
Yes.
Yeah, so we just had a business come in. They're axe throwing, and they're still in the throes of getting food and beverages in there right now. But it's a really cool space. We're still going to continue with the Sundays on Coal and the market and all that stuff. So there's really cool stuff going on. And then
Crystal Mountain. I don't know if you heard what Crystal Mountain's doing. I mean, what was it? Like $20 million investment.
Oh, the renovation.
Yeah, they're going to do a 100-room hotel. They're going to do lodge.
About time, right? It's like one of our major mountains, and doesn't have anywhere to stay. I mean, there have a few little lodges up there, but like, not really.
Not really at all.
Yeah, that's a good move. That'll be really great.
That'll be exciting. That'll definitely boost our area. I mean, that's going to be huge, just because one of the biggest hurdles is that there's not anywhere to stay.
Yep.
having that ability to have 100 rooms up there is just going to bring a lot of traffic through Enumclaw. So,
Yeah, and they're recalibrating the amount of days for for the Icon Pass. They're up parking up there. Because the biggest struggle has been fitting everybody in up there, and all of a sudden you're completely sold out, and you've left your home and drove for an hour or two, and you get up there, turn around. That's pretty frustrating for people. So I'm hoping that I think it's going to be a good thing for sure.
Yeah. No, that would be super frustrating. I know my parents go every Tuesday. They're on the mountain, and like they take they used to take a bus of like 50 from Puyallup, Fred Meyer in the morning on Tuesday, and then all go up and then go back down or whatever after the day's end. But yeah, you do have to bus it in because there'd be no place to park for that many people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Good stuff.
Yes.
All right. Well, you guys have a busy weekend ahead?
We do.
I'm actually just heading out to go to get listing photos done.
Awesome.
Up in Carbonado. So heading up there into the wilderness, and so that's market next week.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hopefully maybe the sun will peek out. Is
it
raining some? Yeah.
Not raining right now, so
no. Fingers crossed.
Yep, exactly.
Good. Well, nice checking in with you guys. I hope to see you in person soon.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thanks for.
Yes, it's always a pleasure.
You bet.
Yeah.
All right,
keep killing it. We'll see you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.